have the opportunity today on Island Focus to talk with Adam Jansen, who is the state archivist. I'm glad you're with us on this. Thank you so much to be with us today.
Thank you. It is a pleasure.
Can you please explain what the state archives are, where you're located, and what exactly do you do?
The State Archives has the duty, the privilege, and the honor of preserving the most important records of Hawaii. As we like to say, we're built on a foundation of 4 pillars. We have to protect your rights, your identity, your property, and your history. So any records that are produced by any government entity, as well as nonprofit and people of note that touch on those 4 areas, are preserved in perpetuity at the State Archives, which is on Iolani Palace grounds and has been there for over 110 years.
So that's a lot of paperwork, a lot of books, songs, memorabilia, I imagine?
Absolutely. We have over 14,000 cubic feet of records, with our oldest record dating to 1790. And we also maintain a collection of over 1,000 artifacts. Some of the most important objects in Hawaii's history are held in the public trust.
And is it possible for the public to view them? Like, you know, we go to the Bishop Museum, for instance, and we look at the artifacts there.
Absolutely, because these are not our records. This is the public archives, which means that everything in the archives belongs to the people. It is our job to protect these objects for today and tomorrow.
So what might I find there? Especially if I was born in Hawaii, or even if I wasn't born in Hawaii?
So from a genealogical perspective, most of our records date from the very earliest recorded records, keeping in mind that Hawaiian wasn't a written language until 1822. We have marriage records starting in the early 1830s, and they go all the way up in our collection up until about the 19-teens. So we also have land records, starting with the Great Mehele of 1848, royal patents, land commission awards, grant surveys, native and foreign testimonies. So if you're really interested in the history of your property, we have that. Rights, so we have all of the cession laws going all the way back to the beginning of recorded history that were signed by the mo'i, the royalty, as well as territorial and state cession laws that have been passed.
You know, I'm very touched by the fact that, not having grown up here, you're so enthusiastic about the responsibilities that are entrusted to you.
It is a huge responsibility and an immense honor to be able to preserve these objects, because the records and the artifacts that we have in the collection really tell the story of us as a people and how we came together to be where we are today. And so to preserve those and to see people come in is such an immensely rewarding experience. You know, I think I have the best job in the world because having been in the archives profession for over 20 years, you know, you come to expect that people appreciate things, but not to the level that they do here. Because that concept of mana, that people who have interacted and physically touched have imbued that document with their essence is really incredibly moving. We'll have people coming in to do some land research and look at microfilm, not the original documents, and break down in tears because they've seen somebody's signature, a relative that they've never met or interacted with. But to have that richness and that closeness with them is an incredibly moving experience.
So I get your enthusiasm and your joy. What are some of the challenges of being in that office?
We're almost out of space. You know, the building was designed 70 years ago. And the thought was, well, you know, as we're going into the 80s and 90s, yeah, everything's going digital. We're going to be an e-environment, which isn't the case. Because there is something about the physicality, somebody's wet signature that you cannot really capture electronically. So in the last 70 years, we're at about 93% capacity. And not only is it space from a holdings, but also a researcher perspective. You know, the research room is only so large. And as people are starting to get energized about their own history, we got more classrooms wanting to come in, and we can't accommodate that. We just don't have enough space yet.
I really appreciate your comment about becoming aware of our own history. And as we wrap up this conversation for today, what might you say to the public regarding that?
Come to the archives. We have such a rich, diverse, and deep collection that, you know, we usually say, you know, we'll promise you at least 3 chicken skin moments.
You've learned that comment.
I have.
That idiom. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, and we really appreciate the joy and gratitude I get that you feel for being the state archivist.
It is a pleasure. Thank you.
We've had a chance to talk with Adam Jansen, who is the state archivist. Appreciate you being with us as well on Island Focus.